I want to bring us sort of full circle. I want to bring us bring Karen in, just in the sense that the last time we met, you were retired, and we just had a quick chat at the top of the stairs there, and you were like, "But not for long." So, for somebody who's kind of like been and gone from Doncaster more than once, and you've come back as a place to work, and you're contemplating another opportunity potential, which may or may not be in Doncaster, but I'm intrigued. What's your reflections on what you've heard, but also your story within that?
Okay, Karen Beardsley, retired, ex-managing director of Unipart Rail in Doncaster, and also I've done a stint out in Australia as MD for Australia. Born and bred in Doncaster, something I'm very proud of. And I did go away. I left school at 18, joined the National Coal Board, which doesn't exist anymore, which shows how old I am. And did my further education with them because they did day release, which was fantastic, getting paid and going to college one day a week. But then to pursue my career, I needed to leave Doncaster because the opportunities weren't there, which I think has left sort of that little nugget in my mind that the opportunities didn't exist at the time. But as soon as there was an opportunity, I needed to come back, and I've worked all over in the Middle East. I've worked in Lancashire. I actually did go to the dark side once. But I've always come back to Doncaster, and I had the last 25 years, luckily, with Unipart Rail, a job I absolutely loved. I think there's a couple of things that's been said that, if I think back to my role in Unipart Rail, I don't know where the education is completely broken because I'm not close enough to it, but what I would say is, as a receiver of people coming out of colleges and university, they weren't ready for work in any stretch of the imagination, even down to the sort of times that they had to spend at work. Some of them weren't prepared for that. I think whether it is the soft skills, the communication skills, the team building, the most important thing though is that they need to continue to learn and develop. And Unipart's a fantastic company for developing its people and investing in its people. The role I ended up in sort of continuous improvement and setting up the consultancy business wasn't my bag at all. I came out of procurement and supply chain, but they gave me the opportunity to move into something different because they believed in developing people. And that's something that in the roles I've been in, it's the best part of a job is seeing people flourish and get promotion and really take pride in what they're delivering. And I think the only way you can do that is business has to create this continuous learning environment. And that's, I think, when kids join the workforce, that's what they've got to get their heads around. And absolutely, I agree with what you said about we haven't got a clue what's coming our way. I mean, things are just changing so quickly. My old boss, John Neal, got onto the sort of digital agenda very early on in the 4.0 and all of that. And he was trying to get the business ready to make big changes and get people used to the fact that you might join and do this job, but that's not what you're going to do forever. And kids are probably going to have 3 or 4 careers. So that getting them ready to develop and businesses really developing in and investing in their people is something I feel strongly about. In terms of me, I had 3 fantastic months out in Portugal. I've got a place out in Portugal, and after my retirement I went out there for 3 months, loved it. And then winter hit and we came back here and I was bored to death, really. So I've started, I am a member, a non-exec on the Chamber, and I put some time into that. But I am looking for some gainfully employed, paid employment, I think is the expression. Don't know if I want to do it full-time, but I want to do something part-time or short-term. I think I've got a lot to offer. I've got a wealth of experience. I am a firm believer in that Doncaster has punched well above its weight for a long time. But I also think we've been very bold. And I think I do remember sort of all the horror stories about Doncaster. You know, when I left school at 18, it was a fantastic place. We had coal, we had railways, we had steel in Sheffield, we had lots of work and people, and Doncaster was a thriving town. And then it just went horrible, and I don't know if anybody remembers the TV programme, that there were people out in Doncaster, and it just painted us as a god-awful place you would never let your kids go out. And I just thought that's not the Doncaster that I love and I am proud of. So I think being bold and setting ourselves a strong agenda about wanting to do more, getting city status, whatever happens with the GB Railways, that looks like Derby might be the favourite now, but we've got a lot to do, and I hope I'm part of it as well in Doncaster.
I think there's a really, really important message there for you in terms of your expertise that I think we need to consider is when people get to retirement and they leave an industry that they're in, or they leave a particular role, that's a loss in terms of organisational intellect, expertise, experience, and the person behind will be quite a distance from you. And I think there's something for us to think about as a city about how we retain some of that knowledge, and it doesn't have to always be within the confines of a standard full-time employment, 9 to 5. It's how do we retain this expertise within Doncaster in some other way. So I think it's great
Maybe
that
you should have a conversation with Mr Sunak about getting retired people back into work.
It's definitely, there is something in that.